Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 27th of July, comes to you from London. And the market's really awaiting US GDP numbers. That will be the big thing today. Trump already tweeting that there may be a 5 in front of it or a 4 in front of it, but the market is starting to expect quite strong numbers. Dollar through the cloud on the short-term chart, back to bullish mode. So be interesting to see how we react to those numbers today, released at 9:30 US time. So I look at the euro weakening on that stronger dollar this morning. I think the Japanese yen dollar is actually still weak here, not bullish yet above the cloud. Sterling sitting at around 131, just weakening against that stronger dollar. Against the euro holding steady, and against the Swiss franc, sterling just also holding steady. Against the Aussie dollar sitting at the 177 level. Bitcoin pushing high last few days, just coming off a little bit this morning, but nudging this $8,000 mark. We were as high as $8,500 a couple of days ago, just dipped below that now. Key thing is, can we recover through this medium-term chart on the lagging line? Upside target some 12% away to 8,900, so that's looking more and more doable. The US market was strong yesterday, despite weakness from Facebook. S&P was relatively unchanged. The Nasdaq was weaker, of course, with that Facebook sell-off. So we were down 1.4% on the Nasdaq 100, and the Dow Jones Index actually did manage to push higher yesterday. So up 113 points. So the Dow did actually push higher despite that Facebook sell-off, and the broader-based Russell index was also up 0.6%. The futures this morning are looking stronger. The S&P future up slightly. The Nasdaq E-mini is up about 0.25%. So looking for recovery in tech. FTSE this morning up 0.4%. The mid caps in the UK not looking as strong and still just struggling on the short-term chart. The German market looking stronger, that weaker euro up quite strongly this morning, up 0.2%. So we're seeing multi-week highs here in the DAX. And the CAC 40 also up 0.2%, looking stronger as well. Still a relatively strong market for the European markets. Looking at Japan, up 0.5% overnight, looking stronger there as well. Hang Seng was down very slightly, and the Chinese market was also down, just struggling to hold the gains of recent days. India, we're seeing the Sensex pushing higher, pushing to new all-time highs, so that's looking quite positive, up nearly 1% again overnight. And looking at the Aussie market also pushing higher, up nearly 1% as well. Brent crude is sitting at 74.49, so just sitting in those mid 70s area, quite flat the last few days, and WTI much the same, and just managed to get through the cloud, so looking a bit more bullish. US nat gas sitting at $2.78, little change here, and taking a look at gold sitting at 12.23, really just back into that bearish territory, really struggling to make up its mind. In fact, looking at the 1 minute chart in gold, we've got a new downside target to 12.11, which we don't want to see because that would deactivate this upside target for gold. But we do still have three upside targets to 12.46, 12.44, 12.60. A low below this level that we saw last week would be bad for gold, and that's really what this target is implying. So short-term bearishness just showing through there. Looking at silver, we see silver also just pushing lower as well. So precious metals just struggling a little bit there on that stronger dollar. US 10-year yield sitting at 2.98%. It would be interesting to see the reaction on the GDP numbers today. But we're seeing targets here now, 306, 313, short-term targets really starting to play through. So it does look like we'll push back above the 3% mark. And of course, if we make that 313 level, we activate a big upside target. Don't be surprised to see a jump in bond yields today off the back of the US GDP numbers. Looking at Apple, Apple was down about a third yesterday. Amazon actually reported strong results at the close, after the close, and they were down 3% yesterday, but in post close, the post-market close, the stock was up about 3%. So that's been neutralized. Be interesting to see what Amazon does today at the open, and Google holding its strength of recent weeks since their results, up another third of a percent. Facebook, of course, was the big story, down some 18%, just fell yesterday. We just saw that fall and just stayed there, down actually 19%. And we've fallen right to cloud support on the lagging line. It'll be very, very interesting to see what happens next for Facebook. We've got a downside target on the short-term chart of 114, a 34% downside. So really interesting there. We've still got big upside targets, of course. None of these negated, but quite a move there for Facebook. That's showing through on the weekly candle. We've not seen a week like that before. Taking a look at Microsoft, it came back a little bit to 109.62. So we just did see a little bit of a struggle there, down just 1%, in sympathy really with this sell-off due to Facebook, and Netflix just pushing a little bit lower, but really having not taken lower than the low we saw after their results last week. Even so, not managing to recover from this, so that is just a little bit of a concern. That's it for today. Until Monday, happy charting. See you then.